The morning bell at Riverside Elementary echoed through hallways decorated with colorful student artwork and motivational posters. Room 4B buzzed with the particular energy that comes when third graders discover they have a substitute teacher. Behind the desk sat a woman they'd never seen before, unremarkable in every visible way. Sarah Chen appeared to be in her early 30s, with shoulder-length black hair pinned back in a practical style and wire-rimmed glasses that gave her a scholarly appearance. She wore a modest cardigan over dark slacks, comfortable flats, and carried herself with the quiet authority that experienced educators develop over years in the classroom. What the 22 8-year-olds in her charge didn't know was that Sarah Chen didn't exist. The woman behind that identity was Agent Maya Reeves, 15-year veteran of a classified government program that specialized in deep cover protection details. For the past 3 months, she'd been embedded at Riverside Elementary under the guise of a substitute teacher. Her real mission centered on protecting one specific child whose father had recently testified against a dangerous criminal organization. 8-year-old Tommy Hoffman sat in the third row, completely unaware that his new teacher was there specifically to keep him alive. "Good morning, class," Maya said, her voice carrying the practiced warmth of someone who genuinely enjoyed working with children. "I'm Miss Chen, and I'll be your teacher while Mrs. Patterson recovers from her surgery." The response was typical third-grade chaos, a chorus of "Good morning, Miss Chen," mixed with whispered conversations about the new teacher and whether she'd be nice or mean. Maya smiled, distributing worksheets with the same efficiency she used to field strip weapons, though none of the children would have recognized the similarity. As the students settled into their morning routine, Maya's trained eye automatically cataloged details that would be invisible to a real substitute teacher. Exit routes from the classroom, sight lines from the windows, the response time she could expect if she activated the silent alarm hidden in her desk drawer. Her earpiece crackled softly with an update from her handler. "Kingbird, this is Base, status report." Maya touched her temple briefly, activating the nearly invisible microphone. "All clear, Base. Target is secure and engaged in normal school activities." "Copy that. Intelligence indicates possible movement in your area. Stay alert." Maya's expression didn't change, but her posture subtly shifted. After 3 months of uneventful surveillance, something was finally happening. The morning progressed normally. Maya guided the children through reading exercises, helped with math problems, and managed the dozen small dramas that arise when 22 young personalities navigate their day together. To any observer, she was exactly what she appeared to be, a competent, caring, substitute teacher who had quickly earned the students' respect and affection. At 10:30 a.m., during morning recess, Maya positioned herself by the playground windows where she could maintain visual contact with Tommy while monitoring the perimeter. Her earpiece crackled again. "Kingbird, we have 3 vehicles approaching your location. Black SUVs, no plates visible. This is not a drill." Maya's blood chilled, but her expression remained calm as she watched Tommy play on the monkey bars with his best friend Jake. "Copy, Base. Initiating lockdown protocol." She moved swiftly, but without panic, to the school's main office. "Mrs. Rodriguez," she said to the principal, "I need you to initiate a code red lockdown immediately. This is not a drill." Principal Rodriguez looked up from her paperwork, startled. "Miss Chen, what are you talking about?" Maya's voice dropped to a tone that cut through any potential argument. "Ma'am, I need you to trust me and act now. Lock down the school, call 911, and get every teacher to secure their classrooms. Lives depend on it." Something in Maya's demeanor, the sudden authority, the professional bearing that had replaced her mild educator's presence, convinced Rodriguez to act. The lockdown alarm began echoing through the building as Maya sprinted back toward her classroom. The playground was in controlled chaos as teachers herded children inside, according to well-practiced emergency protocols. Maya reached room 4B, just as her students were filing in from recess, their excitement about the drill quickly fading as they sensed the adults' genuine tension. "Everyone sit against the back wall, away from the windows," Maya instructed, her voice calm but leaving no room for argument. "We're going to play a very important quiet game." As 22 third graders settled against the far wall, Maya moved to her desk and opened what appeared to be a supply drawer. Hidden beneath stacks of construction paper was equipment no substitute teacher should possess: a tactical radio, emergency medical supplies, and a compact pistol with additional magazines. Tommy raised his small hand. "Miss Chen, are we in danger?" Maya knelt beside him, her expression gentle but serious. "I'm going to make sure everyone stays safe, Tommy. That's a promise." Through the classroom window, she could see 3 black SUVs pulling into the school's parking lot. Men in dark clothing emerged, moving with the coordinated precision of military operators. Maya counted at least 9 individuals, all armed, all moving with purpose toward the main entrance. Her earpiece crackled with urgent updates. Kingbird, hostiles have breached the perimeter. Local law enforcement is 12 minutes out. Repeat, you are on your own for 12 minutes. Maya touched her transmitter. Copy base. Target is secure. Beginning defensive protocol. She turned to address her class. 22 frightened faces looking up at her with the trust that children naturally place in the adults charged with protecting them. Listen carefully, she said, her voice carrying an authority that instantly commanded attention. We're going to stay very quiet and very still. Some people might try to come into our classroom, but I won't let them hurt anyone. 8-year-old Emma, tears starting in her eyes, whispered, Are you going to protect us, Miss Chen? Maya's response was simple and absolute. Yes. The sound of the school's front door being forced open echoed through the building. Maya moved to the classroom door, engaging the lock and wedging a desk chair under the handle. It wouldn't stop determined intruders, but it might slow them down. Through the window, she could see more movement in the parking lot. These weren't random criminals or desperate individuals acting on impulse. This was a coordinated operation, professionally planned and executed. They were here specifically for Tommy, and they wouldn't leave empty-handed. Maya's training kicked in fully, as she transformed from mild-mannered substitute teacher to the operative she'd always been. Her movements became more fluid, her awareness heightened to encompass every sound and shadow. The children watched in fascination and growing fear as their teacher revealed capabilities they'd never imagined. Miss Chen, Tommy whispered, you're different now. Maya glanced back at him, offering a reassuring smile. I'm still your teacher, Tommy, but right now, I'm also your protector. The sound of footsteps in the hallway grew closer. Maya positioned herself between the door and her students, drawing her weapon and checking the chamber with movements so practiced they were nearly invisible. A voice called from the corridor, speaking in accented English. We know the boy is here. Give him to us, and no one else gets hurt. Maya didn't respond, using the silence to track the speaker's positions and assess their formation. At least 3 individuals in the immediate hallway, with others likely covering alternate routes. Miss Chen, came a small voice from behind her. It was Sarah Martinez, one of her quieter students. Are you really a teacher? Maya considered the question, still watching the door. I'm many things, Sarah. Right now, I'm exactly what you need me to be. The first attempt to breach the classroom came without warning. The door handle rattled violently as someone tried to force entry, stopped only by Maya's improvised barricade. The children pressed closer together against the back wall, some crying softly, all looking to their teacher for salvation. Maya raised her weapon, aimed at the door, and spoke clearly. This classroom is protected. Leave now, and no one needs to get hurt. The response was immediate and violent. Gunfire erupted in the hallway as the intruders attempted to shoot through the door. Maya threw herself over the nearest group of children, shielding them with her body as bullets splintered the wooden door and embedded themselves in the opposite wall. When the firing stopped, Maya was already moving. The door was damaged but still holding, though it wouldn't survive another concentrated assault. Everyone stay down, she commanded, crawling toward the classroom's supply closet. Inside, hidden behind boxes of art supplies, was additional equipment she'd hoped never to need. Emergency flares, flashbang grenades, and a backup weapon system that could turn an elementary school classroom into a fortress if necessary. The second assault came as Maya had predicted. This time, they used a small explosive device to blow the door off its hinges entirely. Smoke and debris filled the air as 3 armed men rushed into the classroom, expecting to find a cowering substitute teacher and terrified children. Instead, they found Maya Reeves. What happened next occurred with such speed and precision that the children, despite their proximity, could barely process the sequence of events. Maya moved through the smoke like a force of nature, her actions calculated and devastating. The first intruder never managed to bring his weapon to bear. Maya disarmed him with a technique that sent his rifle clattering across the floor while simultaneously positioning him between herself and his companions. The second man's shot went wide, as Maya used his partner as a human shield, her own weapon, finding its mark with surgical precision. The third attacker, seeing his companions neutralized in seconds, tried to retreat. Maya let him go, her priority remaining the protection of her students rather than the pursuit of enemies. Is everyone okay? She called to the children. quickly checking each face for injuries while maintaining her defensive position. 22 small voices confirmed they were unharmed, though thoroughly shaken by what they'd witnessed. Their mild-mannered substitute teacher had transformed into something out of an action movie, and they were still trying to process the change. Maya's earpiece crackled with updates. Kingbird, we show additional hostiles moving toward your position. Law enforcement is still 8 minutes out. Copy base, classroom secure, but we're not finished yet. Through the shattered doorway, Maya could hear movement in the hallway. More intruders, regrouping and preparing for another assault. She realized with grim certainty that they wouldn't give up until they had Tommy, regardless of the cost in innocent lives. Making a decision that went against every protective instinct, Maya turned to address her class directly. I need everyone to listen very carefully. We're going to move to a safer place, but we need to do it together, and we need to be very quiet. She moved to the classroom's emergency exit, a window that opened onto a small courtyard behind the building. One by one, she helped the children climb through, creating a human chain that would evacuate them from the immediate danger zone. Tommy was the last to go through the window. As Maya lifted him up, he looked back at her with eyes far too serious for an 8-year-old. They came for me, didn't they? Maya met his gaze honestly. Yes, they did. But they're not going to get you. Once all the children were safely outside, Maya faced a critical decision. She could follow them and hope to evade the remaining intruders, or she could stay and ensure they couldn't pursue her students. The choice was never really in doubt. Maya sealed the window behind the evacuated children and turned back to face the classroom door. 6 more intruders were approaching, their voices echoing in the hallway as they coordinated their final assault. What they found when they breached the classroom was a woman who had shed every pretense of being an ordinary substitute teacher. Maya Reeves stood ready, armed and dangerous, positioned to make any advance toward her students as costly as possible. The children are gone, she called out. This ends here. The final confrontation lasted less than 3 minutes. When law enforcement finally arrived, they found Maya Reeves standing in a classroom that looked like a battlefield, surrounded by evidence of violence, but with every single one of her students safe and accounted for. The aftermath involved extensive debriefings, counseling for the children, and a careful reconstruction of events that would keep Maya's real identity and mission classified. Officially, Sarah Chen had been a remarkably well-trained substitute teacher who had acted with extraordinary courage under impossible circumstances. 3 days later, Maya sat in Principal Rodriguez's office, once again dressed in her modest cardigan and wire-rimmed glasses. The transformation back to her cover identity was complete, though something fundamental had changed. Miss Chen, Rodriguez said, I don't know how to thank you for what you did. You saved not just Tommy, but every child in your care. Maya smiled, the expression genuine despite the complexity of her situation. I was just doing my job. Will you be staying with us? The children have been asking for you constantly. It was a question Maya had been wrestling with since the incident. Her mission was complete. Tommy's family had been relocated to safety, the criminal organization had been dismantled, and there was no longer any threat to neutralize. But 22 third graders had wormed their way into her heart in a way that no previous assignment had managed. I'd like that, Maya replied, if the position is still available. Rodriguez smiled broadly. Mrs. Patterson has decided to take early retirement. Room 4B is yours if you want it. 6 months later, Maya Reeves had officially left government service and become Sarah Chen permanently. She taught 3rd grade at Riverside Elementary, helped with after-school programs, and attended every parent-teacher conference with genuine enthusiasm. Her students never forgot the day their substitute teacher had protected them, though the full truth of her identity remained classified. What they knew was simpler and more important. When they needed protection, Miss Chen had been there. Tommy Hoffman, now safe in a new city with his family, sent her a card every year on the anniversary of that day. It always said the same thing, thank you for keeping your promise. Maya kept those cards in her desk drawer, next to lesson plans and art supplies, tangible reminders that sometimes the most important missions don't involve governments or classified objectives. Sometimes they're about 22 third graders who trust you to keep them safe. And sometimes, that's the most important job in the world.